everyone's muted. If you want to unmute yourself, you may do that on your own. And we will do that at the end so that we can kind of get a sense of how the workout was and go from there. So let's get started. All right, for those newbies in the group, right now, just put yourself in a super easy gear and your small ring and just get the legs going. We're going to do about a 5-minute warm up of just that. And then we will move into the efforts that we're going to do today. So as always, you guys that have been around for a while know the drill. A full water bottle on your bike. Make sure you have a towel close by. And if you have a fan, either above you, in front of you, or right here next to you is a little baby one. That's definitely a must because you will sweat being inside. A little disappointing that we didn't get more snow today. I wanted to have, like, you know, we're always looking for 6 to 8 inches. That's how we can get out and get in our snowshoes. I think maybe we got 1.5 inches, if that. So it's pretty much nothing, which doesn't do good for anything. Can't sled ride, can't snowshoe, can't really do anything with it. So that was kind of a bummer. But we'll make do with having a good night tonight. So what's tonight's workout going to bring? As I said in my email, we're going to do almost every single effort tonight in our big ring. So we're going to simulate some climbing. We're going to do some low cadence work. We're going to do a couple of efforts, and we've kind of come across this in some past workouts where I've talked about when you're climbing, one of the things that a lot of us tend to do is we're not keeping our cadence high enough, which isn't making up any room, or you're not really making up any getting up the hill faster because your leg speed is slowing down. The hill is creating that because obviously it's harder to climb. So tonight we're going to do a couple of efforts where I'm going to kind of force you into a little higher cadence in a gear that might not feel so great, just to get you to work in that, what will end up being somewhere in your zone 4. And typically when you're climbing, that's probably where you're going to get to zone 4. You may even get to zone 5, depending on how steep and how long that climb is. If you're doing a long gradual climb, you're going to be in 1 heart rate zone. If you're doing a steep 15% straight up for 25 meters, that's a different story. That's going to just jack your heart rate just because it's so hard. And then tonight, we're going to do a few efforts where we'll be out of the saddle. And I know that sometimes on the trainer, and even on the road, getting out of the saddle can be a little challenging. So the main thing about getting out of the saddle, especially when you're on the road, is being in the proper gear. If you're in too easy of a gear, you're not going to have enough resistance under your feet, and therefore it's going to be really hard to get out of the saddle. So we'll kind of work at that and put that into the mix so we can start building those stabilizer muscles that'll help us get out of the saddle. All right, so a little different for our 5-minute kind of burn out the legs to get us going. It's going to be, some of you might remember this. I don't know how long ago we did it. It's a 90-second effort with your cadence between 85 and 90. then a 30-second sprint, all out, as hard as you can go, then back to 90, then back to 30, then we'll finish that out. So I want everybody in their big ring. That's going to be your left hand. In the front, you're in the big ring. In the back, I want you to shift down to your 21. So if you have a 28 at the top, 28, 25, 23, 21. So for me, it's only 2 shifts. For most of you, it may be 3. We're going to do 90 seconds, and I want you to try to hold 80 to 90 cadence. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Be consistent with this. Hopefully, Elaine, you have cadence, because we'll be referencing to that. Everybody else is pretty good at that. I'm going to keep my cadence between 85 and 90. So if you're following my legs, we want to get the heart rate going. We want to get the muscles firing, the lungs starting to work, the heart starting to pump, the sweating process. We want to get it going. And we also want to build some lactic acid in the legs. We're coming up on 1 minute. Hold that cadence. I know this gear might not be the perfect one for that cadence, but that's what we want to get you to do. You're going to stay in this gear. When I count it down, you're going to give me a 30-second hard effort in your drops. 3, 2, 1, out of the saddle for the first 15. Come on. Keep the leg speed fast. Sitting down. Hold a high cadence. Keep going, keep going, keep going. 3, 2, 1. Let the cadence drop down. Back to that 80 to 90. Another minute and a half. You may feel the legs really starting to burn now. That's what we're looking for. It's going to get them ready for what's to come. Big ring, 21. 80 to 90 cadence. You're going to give me one more sprint in 30 seconds. Nice relaxed upper body. Feet are nice and flat. Feeling yourself, pedaling evenly. Using the upward part of the stroke. In your hoods. 3, 2, standing up. Let's go. A full 30 seconds out. Tall in your torso. Hips are over your ankles. Little piece of that saddle right between your legs. 3, 2, sitting back down. 1 more minute. 80 to 90 cadence. This is a good warm-up. It's definitely warming you up. Feel your heart rate rising. Thirty more seconds. Feel light on your feet. $15 to go. Upper bodies, nice and still. 3, 2, 1. To your small ring. Easy gear. 1 minute easy. Whew. That was a tough warm-up. Why did I do that? Because we're going to move to a set. We're going to be way at a low cadence. So we want to make sure all those ligaments, tendons, and muscles are warmed up enough to be able to withstand the lower cadence. So we're moving into a 5-minute effort. I'm going to have you start. You don't have to go there yet. In your big ring 13. If that gear is a little too much or not enough, our goal is to have our cadence at 50, no higher. No higher than 50. All right, so find your big ring again. All the way down to your 13. So typically, most bikes, the smallest gear in the back is a 12. Shift all the way to the bottom, and then shift up to one easier gear. Here we go. 5 minutes solid, 50 cadence. Again, if you're getting to 55 or 60 as a cadence, then you need to go one harder gear. I want you to feel every part of this pedal stroke. This is when you're at a slow cadence. You can really concentrate on those perfect circles. Up over the top, letting it go to the bottom of the pedal stroke. Maybe a little tiny bit of pullback, and then the upward stroke and over the top. Now I want you to think about the upward part of the stroke. It doesn't mean you're pointing your toes down. It's because you're pulling with your heels. I want you to make that stroke even by actually pulling with the tops of your feet. So your feet are flat, but you're feeling your foot touching the top of your shoe. Keeping your feet moving at an even pace. Some people love this kind of pace. Those that are the sprinters in the group, they love these efforts. Low, slow, all kinds of power. Makes it happen. And I want you to think about your hips. If you're doing this to make this happen, and you're pushing with your heel down and your butt's moving, then you're not using your glutes and your hamstrings. You should be as still as a day without a breeze. No movement in your hips. Your upper body, the same thing. Nice and light. Wiggling the fingers. Little bend in those elbows. And as always, if you're strong in your core, then you're going to be able to make this happen. 5 minutes total here. We're coming up on 3 down. If your cadence is staying steady, not jumping around, then more than likely you're pedaling evenly. If you know that you pedal stronger with one foot than the other, or one leg, then think about that other leg and pedal with it, and I'm betting you it'll even you out. My cadence isn't jumping around, so I know I'm pretty consistent. You might feel yourself pushing back a little in your saddle. That's just as a result of the gearing. But I don't want you pushing your heels down. Find that gentle balance through the pedal stroke. Perfect circles. 1 minute to go. Listen to the bike and notice if the sound is staying consistent. If it is, then you know you're pedaling properly. If you're getting a little hump, like a change in the sound, wow, 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 then you might be pushing harder with one leg than the other. Stick with it. 20 to go. Almost there. 10 to go. 3, 2, shift up a couple of easier gears, then to your small ring, and then up to that easiest gear. So you should be in your small ring and at the top of your cassette in the back. So why did we shift a few up before we went to our small ring? It's too much a chain stretch. You're cross chaining. It's a really far for that chain to go from the big ring down to your 13. So when you make that shift to the small ring, you might stretch the chain so much that it won't shift, or it may shift down and fall off that small ring. All right, so I'm going to give you 1 minute at an easy time. And then the second minute of our rest period, I want you holding your cadence between 90 and 100. And I'll tell you when that's going to start. Make sure you're taking a drink in between these efforts. Bringing your cadence up. If you're not at 90 to 100, then get it there. All right, this next effort. This is where I'm going to put you in a little easier gear. You're still going to be in your big ring. And I want you to really, really concentrate on your cadence for this. More than likely, your heart rate's going to be somewhere near the top of zone 3, bottom of zone 4. But I want you to push yourself a little bit harder here and act as if this is a 4-minute climb where you're really specifically working on getting your leg speed to be a little bit higher. So for this one, last one you were in your big ring 13. We're going to move back to that big ring 19. So our starting set, that 5-minute set, you were in your 21. You're going to shift to one harder gear than that. So if you're 28 at the top, 28, 25, 23, 21, 19. So find that big ring 19. All right, 4 minutes. 3, 2, 1. And as always, if you're not even getting close to 90, if you're really struggling to get there and you need to get yourself into one easier gear, you can shift there. And again, as we learned in another workout, if being in too hard of a gear doesn't get you to that cadence, you're more than welcome to shift. 90. Get it to 90. Top of zone 3, bottom of zone 4. 4 solid minutes. I'm right on to the bottom of zone 4. Of course, I'm using power, which gets me right there. Heart rate might have taken you a little while to get there. Hold on to it. Concentrate only on the cadence. Leg speed's a little faster, so heart rate's going to go up. Settle into the bike. Find the position on your bars that you like the most. In the hoods, on the corners, on the deck. 2 down, 2 to go. Don't let that cadence drop. Nice work. Legs are the only thing working. The upper body has nothing to do with it, except for your core. That's why pro cyclists, they look anorexic from the waist up. Most of them have no biceps. Three minutes in. 1 to go. Stay consistent. All positive talk for yourself. You've been here before many, many times. "30 seconds. Again, make sure that cadence is dead on. Think about your pedal stroke. 5 to go. 3, 2, 1. From this gear, you can go right to your small ring. It's a perfect line. Small ring, easy gear. Make sure you get a drink. Remember, our goal is finish this bottle by the end. All right, so now you know what it feels like to climb at a little higher cadence. And you found that perfect gear. So whatever that gear was for this next effort, we're going to do 5 minutes, but I want your cadence between 80 and 85. So once you've perfected climbing Typically, that's about where your cadence should fall when you're climbing a long, gradual climb. You're going to fall right into 80, 85. Let's all pick up our cadences. If you're not at 90 or above, bring that up a little bit. We're recovering, but we're getting leg speed at the same time. So this next 5-minute effort, you're going to be, obviously, bottom to middle of zone 4, a little harder gear, and a little lower cadence, which is okay, and a little longer effort by a minute. So I want you to really settle into it, act as if and feel yourself climbing at that comfortable pace in terms of cadence. The heart's going to respond, obviously. That's what we want. All right, so everybody, big ring. Find the gear from last time, either your 19 or your 21 if you shift it up. Go one gear harder from that gear. We're going to go 80 cadence, 80 to 85, right at the bottom to middle of zone 4. All right, here we go. Start out nice and confident because you've rested. Find that cadence. I'm right at 83. This time I want you to take a deep breath. Get the body tall. Nobody's doing this. You do this, you cut off your hip flexors. So if your tendency when you're climbing is to get low, you're not helping yourself. You need to get tall from your abs, from your lower abs. So I say on the trainer, if you want to sit up, find yourself settle in, keep that same torso, and bring your hands back down to your bars. If I were to turn my bike, you would see my back is just like this. Not like this, where my head's down and I have a hump. And what that's also going to do, it's going to rotate your hips back into that climbing position. I know that's a lot of things to think about. Trust me, if you work on that, next time you climb something, you'll notice a difference. I was with a group of mountain bikers on Sunday, and I gave that tip to one of the women that was in the group. She looked at me and she was like, wow, that's huge. That completely changed the way I climb. So you're settled in. You're 2 minutes in and some. We're going 5. It's a nice, gradual, consistent climb. Keeping that cadence, 80 to 85. Heart rate or power, right at the bottom to middle of zone 4. Take a deep breath if you need to get tall again. Our core is so key. It also allows our legs to kind of stretch out. Use those abs, those hamstrings, those glutes to get the pedals around. We're almost at 3:30. This workout's going fast. Look down at your feet. Make sure they're flat. Check your knees. Make sure they're not pedaling like the old man sticking out. They should be straight above your shoes and pedaling square. Actually, circles. 1 minute to go. I'm dead on to 82. Right at my power zone. Getting closer to the top. 100 meters to go. 75 to go. 50 to go. Seeing the top. Come on. 25. 3, 2, 1. Small ring. Easy gear. Nice job. Get a drink. You're going to get 1 minute of recovery. All right, so this next one. Now's where we're going to pull it all together. Little bit of low. Little bit of 80 for 85. So it's a 6-minute effort. Each minute, you're going to change. But you're going to notice there's a pattern. So the first minute, you're going to be at that big ring 13. See if you can get the cadence up to 60 in that gear. If not, you can shift up to 1 easier. Then we're going to go to a 1-minute effort where we're going to make some shifts to your big ring 17, which is where you were for this last effort. And you're going to roll right back to 80, 85. Right now, get that cadence up to 90 to 100. Then we're going to go back to big ring 13, where 30 seconds of it, we're going to be seated. 30 seconds of it, we're going to be standing. Then back, 80 to 85, big ring 17. Back and forth, all the way for 6 minutes. You don't have to go there yet, but get ready for big ring 13. First minute, cadence is going to be at 60. And again, if the 13 is just a little too much for you to manage, then shift it to your 14. All right. In that big ring, down to that 13. If you need to look back, remember, if you're in your 13, you probably only have 1 gear below your chain, maybe 2 if you have an 11. 3, 2, 1. Bring that cadence up to 60. Let's go. Really work this. You might surprise yourself and hold 60 in that gear. Didn't think maybe you could do it there. Solid minute, 30 to go. After the minute's over, you're going to do 1 swipe with your right hand. That will shift you 3 gears. 1, 2, 3. When I count it down. 3, 2, 1. 3 gear shift. Bring that cadence up. If you feel like you need 1 more, you may go there. We're looking for 80. If you're getting to 90, then you need a harder gear. 1 minute here. Settle in. Feel yourself climbing confidently. Check all those points. Hands, elbows, shoulders are down, not at your ears. When I count it down, shift into 3 harder. 3, 2, 1. Back to 60. Seated. We're going to go 30 seconds seated, then 30 seconds standing. Right at 60. 3, 2, 1. Stand it up. I want you to think about pulling your hips to the ceiling. Not sticking your butt out, but just pulling your hips, or if there's a string at the top of your head, so you get above your pedals. 3, 2, sitting down. 3 easier gears. Right to 80, 85. Come on, stick with it. $30 more seconds here. Now I'm going to trick you a little bit on this next one. Just for a teaching moment. Nobody's going to shift, but we're going to stand up for 30 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Standing up. Ooh, ow. E-oh. Not so easy, right? You're kind of feeling like you're bouncing around a bit. You're not getting enough resistance under your feet. It's not the perfect gear to stand up in when you're climbing out of the saddle. So sit back down. Shift. Down to that 13 again. And for the last 15 seconds, we're going to stand up so you can see the difference. 3, 2, 1. Standing up. Ah, nicer, right? You have more of a platform. The bike's helping you out. 3, 2, 1. Maybe bring it up 2 gears. Moving into the last minute at 80, 85. Come on. Feeling yourself. Getting to the top. Almost there. 30 seconds. All about form. Form is king. 15 seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. Shift down a couple of harder gears. Then to your small ring. Then back to that easiest gear. Small ring, easy gear. Finish up or take a drink. Should almost be done. All right. So we started with that 5-minute effort at that really low cadence. We're going to do one last 5-minute effort in that same pattern, 50 cadence, but we're going to do a little bit of standing up here and there along that 5 minutes. And I want you to really find the perfect climbing positioning. Get yourself to stand up and feel confident about it. All right, picking that cadence up to 90 to 100. 1 minute there. Then we'll move into the last 5-minute effort. The legs should actually be feeling really good right now. We haven't been doing too much heavy gear work. So the legs shouldn't feel too dead tomorrow. They might feel a little heavy when you wake up in the morning. But hopefully we're going to finish this fast after our last 5-minute effort, which will get the legs spinning out and get you on the track to a good recovery from tonight. All right, so I want you to get big ring down to that 13. Look back if you need to. 5 minutes here. 3, 2, 1. If you need one easier gear, you may go there to get to 50. No higher than 50. I want you to really concentrate on your core. Feel your belly button. Pull your belly button in. Feel your glutes actually working with every pedal stroke. It's where your strength comes from. One of the largest muscles in the body. Might as well utilize it. When I count it down, you're going to stand up. 3, 2, 1. Stand up. Nice and tall. If you need to look at the ceiling, that'll get your body exactly where you need to be. Then bring your head back down, but leave your body where it was. I don't want you climbing like this. 3, 2, sit back down. Settle in. Right back to that cadence. You might actually feel very different now than you did for the first one. Reason being, the body's warmed up, but you're also working on your form here. Dead on to 50. That's what we want to see. Check on all your metrics. Cadence, heart rate, power, body position. In your hoods. 3, 2, stand it up. Make getting tall your first order of business. You should feel light on your hands. If you're feeling weight in your hands, then your hips are too far forward, or your chest is too far forward. Move things back slightly. You'll feel the pressure come off your hands. Sitting back down. 3 minutes down. 2 to go. Come on now. Keep the legs moving. Feel the strength happening with every pedal stroke. Your heart rate might not be getting too super high, because we know a lower heart rate, lower cadence, gives you a lower heart rate. Coming up on the last minute. Make sure you're sitting in the saddle properly. In your hoods. Last 30 seconds standing and up. Make this the best one. You found your form here on this last 30 seconds, Valerie. I see confidence now. Everybody's standing up. Nobody's cheating out. Sitting down on the last one. 3, 2, 30 seconds to go. Sitting back down. Come on. See if you can pick up your cadence. Can you get to 55? Ten seconds to go. 3, 2, 1. 2 easier gears. Small ring. Then up 2. The easiest gear you have in your small ring. Pedal at a cadence that you prefer right now. Then we're going to spin those legs out and finish up. Great job tonight, guys. Woo! So this kind of workout, you're going to need that recovery shake. You're going to need that extra protein. So those muscle fibers. So if you can see my hands, you got to think of your muscle fibers all like this, nice and tight when you start the workout. And as you work them, they start to kind of pull apart. And that's what creates soreness. When you throw some protein back in there, they start to merge back together and then have you ready for tomorrow or the next day. So what you do today is going to affect what happens for you tomorrow. So bring that cadence up, but keep the legs light. Get yourself to 100 and just hold it there. Let's finish fast. My old coach always used to say, you got to finish fast. Fast legs, light effort. He was very right. He was a great coach. I was very fortunate to find him. So how did I find a coach when I was in the process of finding one? I actually got his name from somebody that I knew that was a cyclist, and he said, you know, I know this guy. He lives in Florida, though, but he's a really good coach. So I had interviewed a couple other coaches, and of course, when I talked to him, we just clicked. I think we talked for like an hour, so I knew it was the right guy. Bring that cadence down to 95. And that's so much of finding a coach, if you're looking for one, is to find somebody that you feel comfortable with, that you kind of have that synergy with, because that makes a huge difference. You have to believe in them and they have to believe in you. So 95 is where you're at with this one behind the at in front of the preposition, my mother always used to say. She was always correcting our English. And still to this day, my sister and I always look at each other when we say something wrong, and we're like, behind the at in front of the preposition. But she was awesome. She's an awesome mom. She's still an awesome mom. Bringing it down to 90. I was thinking about her today because I saw a little clip about Mabel, somebody, I don't remember her last name, who's 94, one of the last living female baseball players from the baseball league. And she actually had a cane that was made out of a baseball bat. It was the coolest cane I think I've ever seen. Well, my mother should have been a baseball player or a softball player, at least from the stories that she and my father told. They played in this playground at the schoolhouse, and if you hit it over the schoolhouse, it was a home run. Well, my mother was constantly hitting it over the schoolhouse, bringing that cadence down to 85. So she should have been an athlete. She did play basketball, but it was when you played basketball and you didn't move and you wore a skirt. So that's really not basketball. So in her next life, that's what she said, she's going to be an athlete. And she'll be a darn good one because she had a lot of athletes to watch. My father first, then me, then my nephew, who's her grandson. So she is very versed. It's cool to talk to her about cycling because she actually knows about cycling at 82. All right, we're coming down to the end. Hopefully you've finished all your water in your water bottle. I'm going to get in these last couple of seconds. I'll stop all my clocks and watches, get off the bike, and open up the phone lines for any comments. Fantastic work tonight, guys. That was a good workout. Hopefully those newbies in the group enjoyed it. Woo! Yes, Elaine gave a thumbs up.